you do us, interrupted Joe with a grateful kiss. But I lost her when I was a little older than you are, and for years had to struggle on alone, for I was too proud to confess my weakness to anyone else. I had a hard time, Joe, and shed a good many bitter tears over my failures, for in spite of my efforts, I never seemed to get on. Then your father came, and I was so happy that I found it easy to be good. But by and by, when I had 4 little daughters around me, and we were poor, then the old trouble began again. For I am not patient by nature, and it tried me tried me very much to see my children wanting anything. Poor mother, what helped you then? What helped you then? Your father, Joe. He never loses patience, never doubts or complains, but always hopes and works and waits so cheerfully that one is ashamed to do otherwise before him. He helped me and comforted me and showed me that I must try to practice the virtues I would have my little girls possess. For it was easier to try for your sakes than for my own. I startled, I start, no, a startled or surprised look from one of you when I spoke sharply, rebuked me more than any words could have done. And the love, respect, and confidence of my children was the sweetest reward I could receive for my efforts to be the woman I would have them copy. Oh, mother, if I'm ever half as good as you, I shall be satisfied, cried Joe, much touched. I hope you will be a great deal better, dear, but you must keep watch over your bosom enemy, as father calls it, or it may sadden, if not spoil your life. You have had a warning. Remember it, and try with heart and soul to master this quick temper, before it brings you greater sorrow and regret than you have known today. I will try, mother. I truly will. But you must help me, remind me, and keep me from flying out. I used to see father sometimes put his finger on his lips and look at you with a very kind but sober face, and you always flooded your lips tight and went away. Was he reminding you then? Asked Joe softly. Yes, I asked him to help me so, and he never forgot it, but saved me from many a sharp word by that little gesture and kind look. Sir Papa. Jo saw that her mother's eyes filled and her lips trembled as she spoke, and fearing that she had said too much, she whispered anxiously, "Was it wrong to watch you and to speak of it?" "I didn't mean to be rude, but it is so comfortable to say all I think of you and feel so safe and happy here. My Jo, you might say and you may say anything to your mother, for it is my greatest happiness and pride to feel that my girls confide in me and know how much I love them. I thought I'd grieved you. No, dear, but speaking of how much I miss him, how much I owe him, and how faithfully I should watch and work to keep his little daughters safe and good for him. Yet you told him to go, mother, and didn't cry when he went, and never complain now, or seem as if you needed any help," said Jo, wondering. I gave my best to the country I love, and kept my tears till he was gone. Why should I complain? when we both have merely done our duty and will surely be the happier for it in the end. If I don't seem to need help, it is because I have a better friend even than father to comfort and sustain me. My child, the troubles and temptations of your life are beginning and may be many, but you can overcome and out, outlive them all if you learn to feel the strength and tenderness of your heavenly Father as you do that of your earthly one. The more you love and trust Him, the nearer you will feel to Him, and the less you will depend on human power and wisdom. I need a sip of my tea. His love and care never tire or change, can never be taken from you, but may become the source of lifelong peace, happiness, and strength. Believe this heartily, and go to God with all your little cares and hopes and sins and sorrows as freely and confidently. What a word! As you come to your mother. Joe's only answer was to hold her mother's close, and in the silence which followed, the sincerest prayer she had ever prayed left her heart without words. For in that sad yet happy hour she had learned not only the bitterness of remorse and despair, but the sweetness of self-denial and self-control, and led by her mother's hand, she had drawn nearer to the friend who always welcomes every child with a love stronger than that of any father, tenderer than that of any mother. Amy stared and sighed in her sleep, and, as if eager to begin at once to mend her fault, Joe looked up with an expression on her face which it had never worn before. I let the sun go down on my anger. I wouldn't forgive her. And today, if it hadn't been for Laurie, it might have been too late. How could I be so wicked, said Joe, half aloud, as she leaned over her sister, softly stroking the wet hair scattered on the pillow, as if she heard. Amy opened her eyes and held out her arms with a smile that went straight to Joe's heart. Neither said a word, but they hugged one another close. In spite of the blankets, and everything was forgiven and forgotten in one hearty kiss. Chapter 9. Meg goes to Vanity Fair. I need a sip of my tea. I do think it was the most fortunate thing in the world that those children should have the measles. Measles? Let me highlight this one then. Measles just now, said Meg. One April day, as she stood packing the go-abroady trunk in her room, surrounded by her sisters, and so nice of Annie Moffat not to forget her promise. A whole fortnight of fun will be regularly splendid, replied Joe, looking like a windmill as she folded skirts with her long arms. And such lovely weather. I'm so glad of that, added Beth, tiddily, sorting neck. Let me highlight this one. Sorting neck and her ribbons and her best box, lent for the great occasion. I wish I was going to have a fine time and wear all these nice things, said Amy with her mouth full of pins as she artistically replenished her sister's cushion. I wish you were all going, but as you can't, I shall keep my adventures to tell you when I come back. I'm sure it is the least I can do, when you have been so kind, lending me things and helping me get ready," said Meg, glancing around the room at the very simple outfit, which seemed nearly perfect in their eyes. "What did Mother give you out of the treasure box?" asked Amy, who had not been present at the opening of a certain cedar chest in which Mrs. March kept a few relics, relics of past relics of past splendor as gifts for her girls when the proper time came. A pair of silk stockings, that pretty curved fan, and a lovely blue sash. I wanted the violet silk, but there isn't time to make it over, so I must be contented with my old tarlatan. Okay, tarlatan. What is this word, tarlatan? It will look nicely over my new muslin skirt, and the sash will set it off beautifully. I wish I hadn't smashed my coral bracelet, for you might have had it," said Joe, who loved to give and lend, but whose possessions were usually too too dilapidated to be of much use. There is a lovely old-fashioned pearl set in the treasure box, but Mother said real flowers were the prettiest ornament for a young girl, and Laurie promised to send me all I want," replied Meg. "Now, let me see. There's my new grey walking suit. Just curl up the feather on my hat. But then my poplin for Sunday, and the small party. It looks heavy for spring, doesn't it?" "Wow, it's raining. Violet silk would be so nice. Oh dear. Never mind. You've got the tarlatan for the big party, and you always look like an angel in white," said Amy, brooding over the little store of finery in which her soul delighted. "It isn't low-necked, and it doesn't sweep enough, but it will have to do. My blue house dress looks so well turned and freshly trimmed that I feel as if I'd got a new one. My silk swack." Oh wow, what is this word? "Swack isn't a bit the fashion, and my bonnet doesn't look like Sally's." I didn't like to say anything, but I was sadly disappointed in my umbrella. I told Mother black with a white handle, but she forgot and bought a green one with an ugly yellowish